To start watching, I'll ask you to subscribe to the channel and like it. Also, write in the comments what you would like to see on my channel. Enjoy your viewing. Story 1. Destination wedding for husband's granddaughter. He won't do anything to get his passport. Original post. December 28th, 2024. Been married to my second husband for 27 years. He has 2 kids who I really like and get along with. One daughter has 4 daughters who are a bit spoiled. I made sure to give the granddaughters nice presents for their graduation gifts and have always been the nice step-grandma who is pretty much ignored by the grandkids. My husband does zero work on any gift-giving or travel arranging when we have attended any of their events. That's all left up to me. We attended the weddings of the first 2 granddaughters, both of which were about 3 hours away. I arranged the trip, bought and wrapped the gifts, and bought cards. We attended the event, and I was again the nice step-grandma who is pretty much ignored by the grandkids. About 4 months ago, we received a save-the-date card letting us know that the 3rd granddaughter will be getting married in another country in mid-2025. I have a passport, but husband does not. I told him he will need to get a passport to attend this. He's done nothing. A few weeks ago, I asked if he really wanted to go to this, and he said yes. I reminded him that he would need a passport. So I went online to see what he needed to get that. One item was the date of divorce from his prior wife. He said he wasn't going to get into that. I said okay, and dropped the whole issue. I had been looking at airline flights, and the tickets would have cost about $2,000 for both of us. The hotel would be another $1,000, all-inclusive place. The invite for the wedding is taped to the front of the fridge, and I am not going to bring this up again. If he asks, I will let him know that if he actually gets off his butt and gets his passport, I will make travel arrangements. Edit. I forgot to mention that the wedding is on a Wednesday, which means we would have to fly out Tuesday and fly back Thursday. I cannot believe she chose Wednesday for her wedding day. Edit update. Hey, thanks everyone for all the interesting comments. As you can tell, there's more going on than just the wedding. I will be sure to post an update when he completely fails to do anything to go to the wedding, and therefore we don't go. Some of OOP's comments. Commenter. Also, IDK what the laws are where you are LOL, but you have seen proof he's divorced, right? Because, fine, I have no idea what date my divorce went through, but I do have the printed out paperwork in my drawer, and I'd just look it up. This is some bizarre avoidance LOL, and it would give me the Willie's NGL. OOP. I know for a fact the divorce went through, and I saw the paperwork years ago. I'm pretty sure it was final in 1996. But I don't know the date. It was odd that he said it that way. More on the divorce proof. Lots of commenters were fixated on that. And the passport work. I'm an attorney. I tried looking them up online, but records that old, from 1996, aren't usually available online. More than likely, it is stored on microfiche at the district court where this was entered. This will require a trip to the courthouse, filling out forms to request the old documents, etc., etc. Not difficult, but detailed and time-consuming. I'm just so tired of doing all this detailed, time-intensive bullshit for him all the time. I'm tired of spending my time on something I don't even want to spend money on or go to. I'm going to do nothing, say nothing, and let the date come and go. However, I will now probably go look for the records just to make sure the divorce decree was entered. Commenter. I understand so much. I am kinda concerned for you. Make the time. Go look, if for no other reason than peace of mind. There is a reason why my age, 59 demographic, are the largest cohort getting divorced. 70% are women who are sick of this shit. We have to do it all alone. It's just easier to be alone than dragging an anchor. OOP. Oh, I'm going to find it just to be sure the divorce decree was entered. Then I'm going to destroy it and never say a word. And yes, I'm getting increasingly tired of dragging this anchor. The kids. His kids are actually from wife #1, who passed away before I met any of them. His divorce was from wife #2. But I don't understand why he will put no effort into finding the divorce date or working on the passport other than pure laziness. To another commenter, actually the kids hated wife #2. Yes, he's lazy. His kids and their spouses are very nice to me. I had a stepmother also, and am very careful not to try to be mom to them. I hated it when my stepmom did this. I just want to be nice, friendly, and not get in their business. Isn't that what a stepmother should do? Same for the grandkids. Why, they're still married. But that's a much longer post. For those of you in your late 60s, long married, you understand that marriage to a flawed person is still better than being lonely. At least most of the time. Weighing the pros and cons, he still comes up on the pro side. To another commenter, yes, I do feel alone a great deal of the time. Being alone has never been a problem for me, but I still feel like being married to him. One more commenter, ha ha. Yeah, I have a backbone, but I also have a huge heart for my husband. I have no problem telling others to F off, and I've always been tough. I think this is the turning point where I am totally done making any arrangements to make things easier on him. Commenter, is it possible that he doesn't have the needed paperwork and is stuck in a loop because he has no idea where to start replacing it? OP, he has enough knowledge to figure this out. I'm not even going to give him any pointers, offer suggestions, because there I go again doing all the mental work for everything. Commenter, no reason why OP can't go. She has her passport. If it was me, I would go by myself and tell everyone exactly why I was unaccompanied. OP, oh the hell no, I'm definitely not going solo for a step-granddaughter who probably won't even acknowledge me. Commenter, if you continually feel ignored by them, stop giving. It honestly sounds like a huge expense to attend for someone who treats you that way. OP, yeah, I'm done. Now that I think about it, none of them ever reach out to me. When we go to visit his family, they are always nice, but they have never independently reached out to me one time in all the time we have been married. Commenter, maybe they don't like your husband. He sounds kind of awful. Sorry. OOOP. Hayes, this is Reddit. I come here for the truth, not to have people be soft on me. Mini update in comments December 30th, 2024, 2 days later. Regarding her doing the work and also whether or not they will RSVP. Actually, one person commented about the RSVP and that we would have to advise them whether we were coming or not. Realizing that I had previously RSVP'd, so I have now changed my position and will be contacting his daughter to advise her of the issue. That comment is buried somewhere in response to another comment. Yesterday was truly full of example after example of me having to do everything in this relationship, carrying 100% of the mental load, and I was just done. But today is a new day, and I'm going to be a better human. Some more clarification. Commenter, I'm wondering what the appeal was here. He's lazy and can't be bothered to do fuck all regarding his own kids and grandkids? It sounds like he's using weaponized incompetence to get you to do everything. Why would a smart, accomplished professional woman put up with his bullshit for 27 years? He can't possibly be that good in bed. OOP, because it wasn't always this lopsided. After his cancer diagnosis in 2018, then chemo, stem cell transplant, resulting neuropathy and depression, he became more dependent. He's somewhat better now, but we both fell into the me doing everything pattern. For the last few years, I've been trying to break that, especially with tasks that are not physical, require mental effort. Commenter, wow, that's a lot of left-out information. OOP, yes. For the last year or so, I have been trying to get the workload more balanced, especially with just mental tasks. It's so difficult once one partner has basically shouldered the whole load. I'm starting to think that even though he said he wanted to go the wedding, that inside he really doesn't. Therefore he does going to use the passport excuse for why we won't go. Fine by me. Update post January 14th, 2025, 17 days from OG post. To all of you who commented before, thanks. This is the update, and I know I'm setting myself up to get knocked about, but this is Reddit after all. I saw the divorce decree from his prior wife, so he is indeed divorced, and he and I are legally married. Since that post, I have told him he needs to engage in the cleaning and taking care of things around the house. He is now responsible for one bathroom, and I'm responsible for the other. He actually pointed out a cleaning method to me, and I said, "Great, do whatever you like." He has been frustrated by the new order around here and continues to do as little as possible. I have tried to remain cheerful and positive. His daughter called to confirm we are coming. He said, of course, and later asked me, "We are going, right?" I said, "When you get your passport, I will make the reservations." He looked dumbstruck. I told him the application has been sitting, right where I told him, and he denied ever hearing me say that. He started working on the application, then asked me if he had a birth certificate. I told him I assumed so, because you were born. He asked where it was, and I told him I have no idea, figure it out. He was getting frustrated. I went and fetched it from the files, and angrily told him here it is, and you can take care of this from now on. Yes, I spoke angrily. Yes, I slammed it down on the table. He flipped out and threw a plastic bottle of salad dressing into the kitchen, and it broke and splattered all over the cabinets. Like the mature adults we are, the rest of the day was spent in silence. I went into my office, and he was again glued to the damn political news on the TV, just like he has been for years. He eventually cleaned up the mess in the kitchen. I refused to cook for him, will not do any of his laundry. I had just changed the sheets on the bed, and I bet they are there this time next year. I have taken up residence in the extra bedroom and my office, which are on one side of the house. I'm not sure what will come of this, but I wish the divorce from his prior wife had never been finalized. I would now be free. Financially, we are kind of stuck together, but I will work toward getting unstuck. Some of OOP's comments. Commenter, update me about if he gets it together in time to get his passport. I think someone mentioned in your previous post something about maybe telling the bride that he hasn't gotten his passport. If you're on decent terms with her, you might want to mention it to her anyway. If you don't tell her now and he doesn't get to go, he's going to tell her that you never told him. Just like he denied you saying you'd told him before. If nothing else, her getting on him might jump-start him more than anything you do. Other than that, though, I wouldn't do anything. Good luck. Enjoy your trip with or without him. OP. The bride has been informed of the situation because his daughter texted me later, and I filled her in about the actual obstacle. She and I are on great terms, love her, and I told her no matter what happens, I will get the bride a beautiful gift. Editor's note: to prevent confusion, remember it is the granddaughter getting married, not the daughter. OOP is close to the daughter, who is the bride's mom. Commenter: by the sound of it, he never learned to do shit at home. Ask him if he wants to learn before he is on his own. It might not save your marriage, but you would save alive even if it's the next woman after you. OP, haha, he's beyond saving, and if some lady wants to pick him up later, she's on her own. I raised my child to be responsible and to be a partner in marriage. It worked. Commenter: seems you married a man-child. I hope he decides to grow up, but the chances are slim. OP, I did. Not sure what the future holds. Thankfully, I have learned not to let it distress me too terribly. I have my friends and my work, source of good income. Commenter: nothing sexier than a man who throws a salad dressing bottle when asked to complete a grown-up task. OP: yeah. To his credit, he wasn't aiming at me. I admit I have thrown things in anger and frustration before. At least it was the ranch dressing, which I don't eat anyway. Commenter: congrats on your being very organized and thorough with this unfortunate debacle. Am I correct in classifying MAGA rage to him? OOP: he's on the other side. He's been massively depressed since the election, LOL. I don't give two shits about politics other than to vote. Commenter: also, instead of getting things like his birth certificate for him, if he doesn't know by now that important documents are stored in a file cabinet, either he's actually truly stupid or you married someone with disability. And the way to find out is to ask him. So, after living with me for 20 years, is it because you're mentally deficient that you don't know where important documents are? Or are you just stupid? I mean, you're not going to solve any problems that way, but it sure as hell is going to feel good and get the point across. OOP. Oh, mentally I say a lot of stuff that would only serve to escalate the problem. Years ago, I moved a small 2-drawer filing cabinet into our walk-in closet and told him that one is his, and his birth certificate is in there. It's the only thing in there. You literally open the drawer and there is one manila folder with his birth certificate. He does have ADHD and prefers not to do anything that requires organization and attention to detail, but that doesn't mean he can't. He can. But I have filled that gap for him so long he has become accustomed to it. Well, that has all changed, and he is not handling it well. Commenter: you have so much resentment. You need some counseling to work your way through this, and maybe need to try couples counseling. Sadly, you've enabled him for years and he didn't know you resented him for it. This isn't to blame you, but to point out a lack of communication. OP. Confess this is true. Honestly, I didn't realize how much until I almost slammed that birth certificate on the table. I need to work on changing the situation and letting go of resentment. Holding on to that does no good. OOP explains, well, my prior post was pretty much the start of my wake-up call when I wondered, why am I jumping through hoops doing all the work for his passport when he's sitting over there cackling at the TV? I already have a passport. He's a grown man, and even though I'm better at paperwork, he's still fully capable of doing this. As usual, weddings just fan the flames of the usual relationship issues. Story 2. My 30M partner, 30M, won't let me sleep and I don't know what to do. Original post, Undit, June 30th, 2023. First off, I'll say I have sleep issues. I find it very difficult to get to sleep and stay asleep despite taking medication for it, and when I finally do sleep, I snore. I've tried so many fixes for this. Nose strips, adjusting positions. Spoken to many GPs about it, nothing's worked, I can't control it. My partner has taken to, instead of rolling me over, just losing his patience and kicking doors open, yelling, screaming, hitting the bed to scare me awake. This has started a few months ago and was super infrequent, but is now picked up and is happening multiple times a week now. I'm now having an even harder time getting to sleep. Bedtime is giving me so much anxiety. My body is like on a hair trigger now. I wake up at the slightest noise and never fully drift off anymore because I'm just expecting to be woken up in an extremely aggressive manner. I feel like I'm at the end of my tether. How do I get them to listen and just let me sleep? I mean, it's ridiculous to be scared of going to sleep when your partner is home, isn't it? I don't know what to do anymore. I can't just up and leave him because he's totally dependent on me financially, and I don't have anywhere I could stay. We live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like I can just sleep somewhere else and still support us. He is so angry all the time now, and I don't know how much longer I can be around him. I just want to be left alone to sleep in peace. Told her, partner has started scaring me awake every time I snore, and it's left me feeling unsafe to sleep while he's home. Relevant. Top comments. Commenter 1. You leave. This is abuse, plain and simple. Sleep deprivation is a torture tactic, for fuck's sake. Edit. You kick him out. He can figure out someone else to abuse and leech off of. Commenter 2. Have you been evaluated for sleep apnea? That is often a cause of snoring and can be a serious condition. OP. I am in the process of trying to get my GP to assess me for this, as I do fit all the criteria. We're doing the let's check off and rule out other options part before they'll do anything. Can OP sleep in a separate room or does his husband use earplugs? OP. We already do sleep in separate rooms. It doesn't help, no, he can hear me through the wall and apparently earplugs don't help either. Editor's note, the update text was saved before it got deleted. Update. January 14th, 2025, 18.5 months later. I've never made an update to a post before, so I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Please let me know. I posted well over a year ago now, closer to 2 years at this point, about my sleep snoring issues causing aggression from my partner, and some people seemed really concerned for me in the comments, so I felt the need to update just so people know I'm okay. So, to update, not long after the post I sat down with him and explained how upsetting his behavior was, and he changed it. We aired our grievances, did some reflecting, and realized it was unsustainable, so implemented changes, and it worked. Isn't it wild how communicating can fix problems? A lot of people wanted me to dump him and leave, but we have been together for years. I wanted to give it another try to see if we can find a solution. First change was sticking strictly to separate sleeping areas, and sleeping separately helped so much. Seriously, we are so much better rested in our own spaces, and our sleep routines aren't being disrupted by each other. Also fun sleepovers with no sleeping. Ha, ha, ha. Sleep deprivation was making both of us crazy stressed out, and we were not handling it well, him in particular. I've reached out to my GP since, and am currently, still, on a waiting list for a sleep study to confirm sleep apnea, which is not ideal, but at least there's movement there. Love the NHS, but don't love how long these wait lists take in my area. He also started therapy soon after my post, and we found out that he's autistic, which we suspected before but didn't know what to do about. He got diagnosed and really dove into resources on the topic, and we've both learned so much about how to deal with it. He's done so much work on recognizing and coping with being overstimulated. Yeah, the loud snoring. Extra distressing for him with his sensory issues he didn't understand how to identify, and redirecting his anger into healthier outlets. He's now trying to get me to get assessed too. I'll say something like, "Where are the scissors?" The way this thread is hanging off my sleeve and touching my arm makes me want to peel off my skin, and he'll just hold up a book on autism and point at me like, which is fun. And on our financial situation I mentioned in my post, it flipped. He found a job and then I lost mine, so we're no better off on that front. But sleeping, and as a couple, we're doing so much better. I want to thank so many commenters on my first post for helping me realize it was not healthy or okay for either of us. We're still working on it, but we're in a much healthier, happier place. Thank you. Relevant comment. Commenter 1. I'm confused why none of the original fixes tried were sleeping separately. OP. We would move after being woken up. The change was starting to sleep in separate rooms entirely, so he isn't being woken up by me in the first place. Instead of us both going to sleep in the same bed and him being woken up, startled. Sorry for the confusion. Commenter 2. I wonder how much of the change comes from the autism diagnosis and separate sleeping, and how much is simply the fact that he is now in the financially dominant position in your relationship. It's a lot easier to be nice when you're in control. Hope I'm wrong, just saying. Commenter 3. What a wonderful update. So glad you two could work it out and move into a more healthy way of being in a relationship. Story 3. Aita for not sharing the surprises in the dingy house that was my share of inheritance. Original post, September 7th, 2024. Throw away because I have family on my main. I 37F have 2 siblings, 43M and 29F. For the sake of the post, I will call them Mason and Brittany. Our father died when we were young due to an undiagnosed heart problem. His parents had gifted them an old family homestead on a lot of land at their wedding, and helped a lot to keep our family above water before they passed. Our mother finally found her feet after about 5 years of deep depression and did well for our family. But she was also very frugal. We had good clothing, but no fancy vacations. Our mother had ignored signs of bad health for years, even when we tried to get her to go see someone for it. She passed away recently due to late-stage cancer, leaving us with a lot. My siblings each got more than $150,000 in money, sentimental but expensive items, and furniture. I did not get the money. I received the house, the land, and some items. The house and land, which had been sold off bit by bit over the years due to Mom's declining health and inability to properly tend to it, is worth far below the $150,000 my siblings received. I had moved in with Mother near her end, and it really was only supposed to be temporary, as I believed the house would be sold after her passing, and the money split 3 ways. I already had a plan to roommate with a friend and her family after Mom's death to make that process go more smoothly. Most of my stuff has been sitting in storage for almost a year. As the only one who worked from home, I could watch the home health workers and nurses to make sure they were being kind, doing their jobs, and not stealing. Mostly, it was to make sure they treated my mother with respect and kindness, but my brother did worry about someone walking off with her wedding ring since she was so attached to it. We all agreed for it to be placed in with her ashes, so I made a little setup and took care of her. My siblings came by frequently, 3-6 times a week, each of them. Mason had 2 kids and Brittany only has 1, but they visited as well, though not as much near the end because it was hard for them. So in the weeks leading up to her death, my mother had me pack up what items went to who in large boxes and set them off to the side. My siblings hated me doing this but understood it was what she wanted. The will was read, they checked their boxes to make sure my mom didn't miss anything when telling me to pack, and they left me to my house. Weeks passed and I finally felt like I could start doing things to the house. Now, I did say the house was dingy. It's not worth $150,000, but the housing market is crazy, so I thought it was a bit of a luck. It needs repairs. The roof, the chimney, the water heater, some pipes, the doors and windows for heating purposes, and everything inside is so darkly painted or made of wood that just sucks out all of the light. I immediately had people checking the roof, the chimney, and the water heater. My siblings offered to lend me the money, but I declined as I had been saving for a while to buy an apartment or something small since it is only me. I could also rent rooms for the local college students to get some of that money back. I picked out paints for different rooms, but decided to leave the wood flooring. As I started going through everything in the house, which had specifically been left to me as stated in the will, I began finding things. Money in books, and there are so many books. Money taped under beds, money folded into the fancy sheets, money hidden in the teapot and cups that has been passed down in the family, which we had never been allowed to touch in fear we might break them. I found jewelry in different boxes, hidden in the attic, the vents, in sock drawers. Some of it was so gaudy it had to be costume, but I put it all together, thank goodness I did, and took it to be appraised. The worth of the jewelry is nearly half of what my siblings got. Even the would-be costume jewelry is worth something. Even now, I'm still finding things. I found antique items, fancy watches, untouched clothing, and bags with price tags still on them, belts and shoes still in their boxes. All of this was tucked away, apparently hidden and not talked about. Some of the clothing still had receipts, and since neither I nor my sister can wear them, I took them back to see if I could get the refunds or started selling them online, since again, everything left in the house was specifically left to me. I took the cash and used it to help pay for the immediate repairs, and it almost covered the whole thing. I looked through the jewelry and kept what I liked, which was very little as I am not into that sort of thing, and put aside some for my sister and my brother's daughter. I liquidated the rest and put that into savings. I also put aside some of the bags and belts and watches for my siblings and their families. We can't fit the clothes, but those things are easier to swap around. I invited everyone over and gifted them the items, telling them I had found them while I was cleaning everything out and thought they may like to have them. Everyone was happy to get them, and there wasn't much bickering among the kids. They asked what else I found, and I explained the jewelry I kept and the clothing I was selling off. My brother got a weird look on his face and asked if I had found any money. I told him I had, but tried to downplay it as mostly change and loose bills. He asked to see the money, and I grabbed a giant water refill container I had started storing all the coins in. He told me that was a lot of coins and asked if I was going to use it for the laundromat since I left them all loose. I rolled my eyes because I have a washer-dryer set. I told him there was no point in cashing them in until I cleaned the whole house. He told me to let them know so we could all split that and the money I got from selling the clothing. When I asked why, he said, "So we can split it." I asked him why I would split it when they all had gotten large cash inheritances, sentimental and expensive things, and some other things. I literally got the house, the problems, the cleanup, and the nice things I did find that I thought they might like. I handed over without being asked to. He told me I didn't have to be a greedy asshole about it and to never mind. My sister gave me the side eye but didn't say anything. But I feel guilty for misleading how much I had actually found, even though it was all put towards making the house better. To be clear, all of my mother's debts were paid and she had money set aside for the funeral service and cremation. So Ada? Update September 11th, 2024. Throwaway account. Edit spelling. Firstly, I wanted to thank everyone for their kind words and bits of advice. I felt much better after reading so many of the NTA's comments. I also took to heart the shut your mouth comments, even if a few of them seemed a little rude. On to the update. My house, still feels weird saying typing this, already had outside cameras due to when I moved in and installed them. But I did go and add more to the property line, inside the house in key spots, and around the garage. I also put up no trespassing signs while I look through companies that do proper fences. The property is just small enough I can swing the fence. I did change the locks as soon as I read the advice to do so. I hadn't thought about that, since I work from home. Mom also kept a spare hidden in a plant, because my sister used to lose everything constantly, so I made sure to remove it and not replace it with the new one. It's a good thing I did all of this because 2 days after my initial post, I had to run into town for groceries and a few quick errands. I live on the outskirts with neighbors a bit of a distance either way so they wouldn't notice anyone stopping by. I got a notification on my phone about movement, and I checked because I wasn't expecting any packages. My brother was getting out of his car, looked around, and checked the windows. He tried his key in the door and got upset it didn't work. He checked the flower plant and kicked it over. The cameras around the house let me communicate, so I just said, "That was rude," into the speaker. He jumped and spun around to see nothing. I asked him what he wanted, and he demanded to know why I put up cameras. I said, "Because I'm a single woman living in the woods? You dumb shit." He shifted from foot to foot before saying he would be back so we could talk, and he left. I messaged the video evidence of him trying to get in while I wasn't home to him, his wife, my sister, and her fiancé. With the message I sent, I changed the locks because I don't know who Mom gave them out to, like her friends, and I have cameras. Because of this attempt to get in while I'm not home, no one will be getting the new key. I don't just randomly try to get into your house when you're not home. He sent me a lot of nasty texts after that, trying to shame me for doing that. I told him he shouldn't be doing things he doesn't want others to know about, and that it's a reflection on him, not me. He told me I was a bitch and blocked me. My sister thinks I went too far by telling his wife, because she is threatening to take the kids to her mom's. And she thinks I went too far by showing her fiancé because now he doesn't want him to have keys to theirs for emergencies. Somehow I get the feeling this isn't over yet. Time to adopt a very big dog. Update to September 14th, 2024. Firstly, thank you everyone who made new comments and gave more advice. I particularly enjoyed the entire mini-thread about the geese guards. Super amazing and cute idea. But I have a terrible fear of birds. So I am adopting a bonded pair of doggos from my local shelter. Once my name clears from the cruel to animals list of these gross people aren't allowed to adopt list, I can take them home. No pictures yet, I'm afraid. I really wasn't set on making another post. Or if I did, it would be when this is all washed and done. I did start a paper trail with both the police and a lawyer who is a family friend. I documented the attempted break-in, didn't press charges, but had them speak with my brother and have him put on notice. He ended up getting new phone numbers, yes, with an S, to contact me to berate me and shame me for sicking those pigs on him. I took all of those messages to the lawyer and sent off a few things. A cease and desist for the alarming numbers of calls, texts, social media DMs, and emails he sent me. Some were full of rage about how I took his kids from him, and the others were about how he knew you rat bitch found money in the house. Not once did he mention the post, and honestly I'm done enough with him that I don't care if he sees it because Lawrence says you can't touch this Mason. Fake name. Anyway, my sister Brittany, fake name, asked me out to coffee and apologized for taking Mason's side. She just didn't want the friction and thought the three of us could have worked it out together instead of getting others involved. She and her fiancé have the understanding that he handles his family and she does hers. I guess, for like disputes and things. So by sending it to him before she had a chance to even react to it, it felt like overstepping because I didn't give her the chance to do literally anything before her fiancé was losing his mind. I did apologize because I hadn't thought of it like that. I asked her what she would have done if I had just sent her the video, and she said she would have sat on it for like a day to think about it, and then probably would have asked me for more information or talked to him to see what the hell he was thinking. She also said I was a fucking moron for saying the gifts I had given everyone had been from the house. I should have said something about a bonus at work or something. I have no reason to trust her, but it makes sense, so I am going to cautiously keep in mind that she does have a harder time getting thoughts and emotions across in a normal way. Our parents weren't into the whole test your child for XYZ, so she has been struggling with the idea of being tested for certain neurodivergent tendencies. All this said, I found something really weird and I don't want to open it. In the basement, tucked far into a corner and buried behind a bookshelf and under boxes and boxes of things, is an ancient-looking freezer. It was and still is plugged in. It's running. It was buried and dusty in a way that I know there is no edible food inside of it. But you ever get that feeling that something just isn't right? Do I open it? Do I pretend I never saw it? Do I have someone else open it? Any ideas about why it was hidden? My one friend joked it was my grandfather's game box and it has decades-old deer inside of it. Is that a thing? Update 3 September 15th, 2024. I wanted to thank everyone for the words of advice and ideas how to go about finding out what is in the freezer. I also have a mini update on Mason, fake name. I will get the freezer out of the way because I know so many are eager to hear about it. I called over my lawyer friend Lawrence, fake name, neat lil play on words, yeah? And explained that I needed more information on a few things, but would need a house call because of the contractors coming and going. When he arrived and no one was there, he looked annoyed until I explained the freezer. He told me if we found a body, he was bailing but was laughing as we went down to the basement. This was all yesterday. We put on gloves and the masks. He held the camera and said all this identifying stuff like date, time, address, ECT. I opened it. Inside were important documents sealed in a lot of plastic. There were also old bottles of moonshines, frozen pressed flowers in a book with dates, a bit of cash, coins specifically, and an ancient-looking porcelain doll. The documents were birth certificates and death certificates going back quite a while. It looks like I would have had another sibling if they had lived. And I would have had 3 more aunts if they had lived, and a few other even older relatives. We figure the flowers were from the funerals or services. Considering the dates attached the pages the flowers were pressed. The bottles, jars really, of moonshine looked old. The only reason I knew it was moonshine was thanks to Lawrence. He said alcohol doesn't usually freeze and he opened it and told me based on the smell. The coins will be appraised very soon as I am also still going through all the other coins I have found in the curtains and other odd places. Thank you to the Redditor who told me to look in the curtains. As for the doll, it looks very old but in good condition. It was in a box and wrapped with cloth, old newspapers, and more. Lawrence thinks the hair on its head is real and human because it certainly isn't synthetic. I had to dry it off after it thawed and there is a name smudged on its foot. It's sitting on my living room coffee table right now. I'm not sure what to do with it. The newspaper dates give us a vague idea of the time frame it was put away in, and it's old. On to Mason. His wife has filed for divorce. She is going for full custody. She has the kids with her at her mother's. She reached out to me and explained that Mason had told her the only thing left was the house, and it was willed to all 3 of them, and that he was waiting for me to buy out his part of the house. But when I sent that message, something seemed hinky, so she started to dig. Mason has maxed out all their credit cards. The house is now on a reverse mortgage when it had been paid off, and he opened a few in her name. He didn't use that life-changing money left to him to pay off any of that. She isn't sure where the money went, but when she locked down her credit, it left him unable to use the cards he took out in her name, and it sparked a massive fight. I can't even begin to imagine where the money has gone. He doesn't have new cars, new devices, new anything. Their 2 kids, 14F and 10M, are both old enough to understand what is going on. They won't talk to him until he tells them why they are losing their childhood home, why he hurt their mom, and where all the money is. My niece knows all the accounts are empty, including her college account, and she is furious. My nephew isn't as worried about college, understandable. Mason keeps messaging me about how it's all your fault and just overall being nasty. I would have blocked him if it wasn't for the fact we are collecting evidence. My sister admitted he is ranting to her about it all, but she doesn't want to get him upset at her because they live just a few blocks away from each other, so it's easier for him to come knocking on her door. Despite that, she will not be staying with me. My fence should be starting built any day now. I will be getting my 2 doggos tomorrow. I think I have everything I need. So, that is everything so far. Update 4 September 22nd, 2024. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry it's been a bit since I updated. Between the fence, the new doggos, and problems with Mason, I just didn't have time to update. So, to start, I am very sorry to say that I have forgotten my doggy tags. When I have time or remember, I will post them on this profile. One is a Pitty and one is a German Shepherd. They are both high energy, but not what one would consider pups, though they are my pups. Next, thank you everyone for your wonderful insight and ideas. I did pass along to my soon-to-be ex, SIL, about checking her children's credit. I checked mine as well. The kids have smaller problems with their credit now, thanks to Mason. She locked down credit, and I sent Lawrence, my lawyer, fake name, to speak with her, and he set her on a path of wrecking Mason with one of his lawyer friends who specializes in this sort of thing. My credit was not touched, but I have locked it down, and I warned my sister of the same, but I haven't heard back. To clear a few things up quickly. When my SL told me they were underwater on the house, I had translated that to a reverse mortgage, because there was a big celebration years ago about them finally paying it off. When SEL locked down her credit, she jumped through hoops and got the several cards that she did not open shut down. I don't know those details, but it was done very quickly. Yes, several. So, for the confusion, I do apologize. I wanted to keep things short. I won't be able to do much in terms of trust funds for my nibblings, unfortunately, but I am the trustee or overseer of the ones my mother had set up for them, debating heavily on telling them my SIL because word might get back to Mason. I fronted 3 months' worth of rent for my SIL so she could get her own place so that the courts had no reason to look at her with suspicion. Mason is quickly going to lose the house, and I don't want any reason to chance her custody. Another reason I did that was so that she and the kids could get to somewhere he didn't know about. All contact is now through lawyers. Mason went to her mother's house while they were all out to a school function and destroyed the place. They are still trying to figure out if anything was taken. Furniture, pictures, and decorations were smashed, clothing, including his own kids, were shredded, and he threw mud all around the house. He popped tires on my SIL's car and threatened the neighbors. The neighbors called the cops. There was a problem during the arrest, and he and one of the cops were sent to the ER for stitches. How he managed bail money, I don't know. But I suspect he bullied our sister Brittany into it, because she has been radio silent during all of this. I think he may have taken up staying with her. The house is going to be taken any day now, and my SIL is fighting to keep her car. That was what my SEL told me. Mason has been non-stop messaging and calling me. He even started a smear campaign on social media, getting our extended family to ream me out for not supporting a grieving man who just lost his mother, his wife, his kids, his house, and his dignity. When I spoke with them, it quickly became apparent he circulated one hell of a bullshit story that painted me as a wicked sister who stole everything from him, and that's why I could afford to do all the work on the house. Like I have a drug problem and dried up everything he had for drugs, rehab, and more. All bullshit. Even after talking with them, not very many believe me. My fence is being built, and work around the house is still ongoing. I added a home security system and a few hidden baseball bats because some of the DMs I got about what he could do scared me. I added extra locks around the house and am considering getting rid of the sliding glass door or getting something to lock it like a gate. Lawrence warned me putting too much going forward might harm my case of a restraining order and slander. So if I update it, might not be for a while unless something wild happens. Story 4. Fiancé used my childhood trauma to win a video game. Original post, January 7th, 2025. I don't even know how to type this or explain my thoughts right now, so I apologize if I seem scattered. I, 31M, have been engaged to my fiancée, 29F, Emily, for the past 3 months together for 2 years. She has been the only relationship where I felt safe enough to open up and discuss my past trauma. Many nights I have cried into her arms, and she has been there to comfort me. She goes to therapy with me and has been a rock in our relationship. I have been getting much better since I have really opened up about it and have been able to live a better and liberating life the past 2 years until last Saturday. Emily is ultra-competitive not just in sports but in life. She will do whatever it takes to win and be #1. She has lost friendships, family relationships, jobs, and money. She understands this and has been trying to get better by going to therapy, stating she doesn't know why she is like this. She seemed to cool down over the summer, but she is still very competitive. Even her parents have so idea because they were not athletes and have never pushed her to be #1. And her siblings are confused when this all started. I was a former college athlete, and yes, I am competitive, but not so much anymore. and recently my friend group have begun a monthly game night. I was on a 4-month win streak. We play board games, old video games, painting, basketball, and even football. And it was all in good fun. But Emily last month was so angry she did not win. She walked home and did not want to talk to me for at least 2 days. Before we left for game night, I asked her to please have fun, and it does not matter who wins. She promised she would try as game night came to an end. Emily and I were tied with one more event. Rules are, if it is man vs. woman, the lady chooses the final game. She selected N64 Mario Kart. I am king of that game, I never lose. I asked her if she really wanted to do that and called me a chicken, and was big-talking she will beat me at my own game. I should have backed off, but I caved and we raced. Now, common knowledge is, let her win. And trust me, I thought about it, but she gets really angry if she thinks you let her win. Her attitude is way worse then. As we started racing, it was a tight race. She kept hitting the banana peels, but she kept catching up. The last lap, she started trying to distract me by saying, "He snores when he sleeps," basic middle school insults. Then she tried bumping me to distract me, but I was locked in focused. I responded back, "At least I don't keep hitting the bananas, love, very simple and fun. We are in the final leg of the race," and that's when she snapped, "At least I didn't get sad by my own family." I froze up and dropped the controller and she passed me and won. She was jumping up and down with joy, was screaming and dancing that she finally won. From what my friends told me later that she kept that up for a good while until she saw my face, and that's when she stopped. My friends were in complete shock, asking me if that was true. I could not speak. I couldn't breathe and was fighting back all the inner demons I had swirling in my head. I simply got up and wished them a good night and started walking. I was in a trance. I didn't know where I was walking to. Emily tried calling and texting, asking where I was, begging for me to call and come home. Kept saying she is sorry, just wanted to win so badly, and don't know why I said that. I simply needed space, and I told her to please stop calling me. I don't know what to do. I loved this girl and trusted her, but used that trust to win a Fing video game. My friends are asking me about my past and won't leave me alone. I guess all I am asking, is there any way back from this, or is this the end? Do I dump her or try and work this out? Any advice would be very helpful. TLDR, fiancé used my childhood trauma to win a video game. Top comments. Beneficial ad. 2,952. Man, she got serious issues. In my eyes, there no coming back from this. How could you ever trust her again? Lee Skin. Dude, right? Like, what's to say she won't do it again and blame her competitive personality for it? Melly2. She used your biggest, deepest wound, one that she only knew about because you trusted her, to win a dumb game. She exposed your biggest, deepest wound to other people without your consent. There is no coming back from this. You shouldn't want to come back from this. How will you ever be able to trust her with anything again? She has shown you who she truly is. You deserve better. I am very sorry you had this experience. I hope you are okay. Eat it. I want to thank everyone for their comments and DMs. I have been reading all of them for the past 3 HRS. I guess I knew this was the end of this relationship, but after spending 2 YRs with someone and had strong feelings and trust, I wanted to see if a majority of people could see something else that I didn't, that could save it. And reading the comments, I guess I overlooked that massive red flags that Emily had. I decided to sit down with my friend group tonight and tell them my past. It will be difficult, and will text Emily tonight and meet with her tomorrow. I will update tomorrow after that conversation. Tilda OOP updated same post, Jan 10/9/2025, 2 days later. Update. Hey all, I want to thank everyone again for all the support. It helped me clear up my head and really reflect the past few months with Emily and finally see the red flags I ignored or didn't press hard enough on. First of all, I need to get this off my chest. From ages 11 through 13, I was SA by my aunt. She would come over to babysit and she would do the deeds and have me do stuff to her. She would threaten me if I ever spoke out. I tried to tell my parents if she could not babysit, but my mother told me that her sister absolutely loves you and wants to spend time with you since she can't have children. If it wasn't for my dad forgetting his wallet one night, I believe she wouldn't been caught. My mom went mental and did not believe any of it and went on the campaign tour around town saying she is 100% innocent, and I am just confused. My dad went into the bottle and tried to enter the shadow realm because he couldn't forgive himself for missing the signs. My mom then threatened me to make an announcement that her sister is not a predator, and then attacked me. My dad divorced my mom, and she and my aunt moved elsewhere. All these years later, she truly believes her sister didn't do the deeds. My dad and I are okay. He does not want to be around me much because of the guilt. Second, I met with my friends and told them my story, and they all apologized and promised to help protect me in the future with relationships. They told me what happened after the event. Emily was trying to defend herself by claiming, "I did not mean to say it. He took it the wrong way. I just needed to win this. I love him and didn't mean it." She has been calling all of them, begging for them to please help her. Win me back and she will do whatever it takes, and see anyone to help her with her condition. Meeting today with Emily. My friends invited her over and would sit in the other room while we talked. Emily was unhinged, came flying into the house trying to hug me, but my friends held her back and told her to just sit. I asked her why she said what she said. Emily: "I don't know, I just needed to win so badly." I followed up with why she needed to win this one. Emily: "Because it was your best game and I don't know, I just needed to win." I again asked why she needed to win. What was the importance of winning? Emily, through her tears: "I don't know, I needed to win." She kept repeating the same line over and over, so I asked if she had planned on using my trauma against me, and if that is why she chose Mario Kart. I never seen someone go white so fast. Emily just looked at me and put her hands in her face and blurted out, "I can't stand not winning, and I knew you would get distracted, and I could win and finally feel great. Because these past 4 months I've been so depressed from feeling like a loser and knew I could win with this plan." I was in shock and couldn't believe she said that. I realized that some of the commenters were right, she had this planned. I am still trying to gain control of my thoughts on this one. "You had this planned?" I asked. Emily: "Yes, I didn't think about what would happen after, and when I saw your face I knew I messed up. Please, I want to get help and will do anything. Please don't end this." I asked if this was another competition in her head to win me back. "No, I mean in a way yes, but not like that. So if you win me back, you'll feel better that you won." I told her I can't trust her anymore. What if we had kids? Will you see them as competition? If your friends are being flirted with, will you try and get more attention for the win? What if I am simply doing something and you blurt that out again to win? She had to be escorted out by my friends, and was told by one of them I should get a restraining order because her mental of loosing you may break her mind and do whatever it takes to win me back. So again, thank you everyone for all the comments. I am going to get more help and take a break from dating until I find someone who I can trust 100%, and now my friends will be on extra guard for any Emily sightings and future dating red flags. Story 5. My 25M girlfriend, 25F, has given up on her career after I became a millionaire. How do I tell her this won't work out? Original post, the 29th of October, 2024. Backstory. I met my girlfriend Kylie, fake name, in community college 7 years ago. We became really close friends and started dating 2 years later. At the time, she wanted to be a nurse, which was great. She was really passionate about it, and I fully supported her. I ended up transferring to a 4-year university and earning my MBA. Kylie supported me emotionally the entire time through school, which I'm grateful for. Kylie's parents ended up cutting her off financially because of her spending habits. She ended up taking a year off to work to help her with her bills. In the meantime, I invested all my savings, time, and energy into a startup platform with my best friend in the automotive industry. Earlier this year, we were bought out for a life-changing amount of money. We were both kept on as consultants with a high-paying salary as well. Kylie had kept her job at the jewelry store this entire time. After the buyout, she told me she was handing her 2 weeks in. I offered to pay for her school and expenses. At first, she was excited to go back and earn her nursing degree. I ended up purchasing a condo for us to live in, big step up from our apartment close to her school. Over the weekend, we were talking, and she threw out the fact that she wasn't sure about wanting to go back to school and that she could be a stay-at-home wife. We're not married. I didn't say anything in the moment because I wasn't sure on how to respond. Part of what attracted me to her in the first place was her ambition. It just doesn't sit right with me that she quit her job and career goals after I came into money. Her shopping, spending has also gone up. She's been looking at new cars. I could be overreacting, but something just doesn't seem right. I still love her and want it to work out, but I don't like this new side of her I'm seeing. Relevant comment. OP. Side story for the reason she got cut off. She ran over her friend with her car. Kylie says it was unintentional. The friend disagrees with that. Friend ends up suing Kylie's parents on the basis of them owning the car Kylie was driving. Anyways, Kylie's parents ended up settling with the friend for $250K. They told Kylie she needed to get a job and get her own car after this. Update original post, the 3rd of November, 2024. First, I would like to thank everyone for their time and advice. I truly appreciate everyone's input. I had a serious conversation with my girlfriend Kylie about our future Thursday night. I told her that she needed to figure out a plan for the future, whether that finding a job or going back to school. I told her if she goes back to school, I would support her financially, including paying for her degree. I told her I would give her until December to figure out her plan. She ended up getting really defensive and told me that she's the reason I'm in the position where I am in life. She said that I should pay for her lifestyle since she was there from the start. Then she proceeded to tell me that she wasted 5 years of her life with me. She told me that she could have been married and had a family by now. I was shocked because I've never seen the side of her. She was having a complete meltdown. I ended the conversation by telling her I tried my best to make this relationship work, but it won't work like this. Unlike her, I come from a very middle-class family. Both of my parents had jobs and contributed to the house. It was like she was completely a different person. That's when I realized that the money had really changed her. I basically told her that I had a business trip, she knew about already, and when I get back on Tuesday to have all your stuff moved and give a mutual friend, I trust the keys. I canceled her credit card the same night. The car she currently drives has $6,000 left on the loan. Luckily, the car is in her name, so I'm not responsible for it. I've been making the payments on it for her for the last 6 months. Also, I don't feel too bad like I'm kicking her to the street since her parents would never let her be homeless. Fast forward to Friday, her sister called me a few times and I ignored it, but then decided to answer since they were inside my condo. Sister basically told me that Kylie has been crying the whole day and wanted to work things out. I told her it was too far gone for repair. Then today her best friend called me wanting to know if I was able to meet for some drinks, which I thought was odd. Her best friend told me that she has some things to show me which were causing her to lose sleep. I told her that I would think about it. But honestly, I don't care at this point. Finding out about whatever Kylie did behind my back would just cause more pain. When I get back, I'm going to put the condo back on the market because I have no use for it anymore. I honestly have no interest in dating anymore. It's way too difficult for me to see the true intentions in people. Thanks again for all the help and support. This will probably be the end of this post, hopefully. Side note. I had a lot of questions about Kylie running over her friend. I didn't know Kylie when this happened. Kylie originally spent her first semester of college at a private university. Kylie told me she accidentally put the car in drive instead of reverse and ended hitting the friend. Kylie was super apologetic, and the friend forgave her on the spot. Then the friend's mom found out about her daughter being hit by a car. They did research and learned that Kylie's dad is a big-time CEO of a major corporation and decided to sue her parents. The lawsuit was settled outside of court between Kylie's parents and the friend for $250K. Kylie had to leave the private college after that and join me since her parents wanted her living back at home. I don't think it was intentional on Kylie's part, honestly. But then again, I saw a different side of her for the first time in 7 years of knowing her. Story 6. Am I overreacting for wanting to cut off my family after they went to my fiancé's workplace to expose her? Original post, December 31st, 2024. I, 24M, have been with my fiancé, 25F, for 6 years, and we're planning to get married in the spring of 2025. My fiancé and my family have always had a strained relationship, but I thought things were improving until this week. My sister, 26F, and her boyfriend, 25M, only visit once or twice a year, so I was excited to see them over the holidays. One evening, my fiancé and I went to my parents' house for dinner and games. She had a couple of drinks, I stayed sober to drive, and was a little emotional because we'd recently had to put down her childhood pet. My family was supportive when she shared about it, and the evening seemed to go well. At one point, she got an email from work, and the conversation briefly turned to what she does for a living. She works in an office. The night ended fine, and we planned to return the next day. The next morning, as we were heading back to my parents' house, I got a text from my sister saying they were in my city, which is over an hour away. Confused, I replied, "WTF? Why would you guys do that?" but got no response. When we got to my parents' house, I tried calling them, no answer. Finally, I called my sister's boyfriend, and he answered. That's when I learned they had gone to my fiancé's workplace, questioned her coworkers, and discovered that she doesn't work there. She works in the office, not on the floor. He, and my family, accused her of lying about her work, why she left her last job, and about her getting hit by a car, and told me I shouldn't marry her. They also wanted me to provide evidence. To make it worse, I had him on speakerphone, so my fiancé heard everything. I was furious, but tried to stay calm. I defended her, hung up, and decided we needed to leave. I went back to my parents' house, grabbed our things, and left. Now, we're at home trying to process everything. I'm beyond upset that my family disrespected my fiancé and crossed such a huge boundary by going to her workplace and harassing her coworkers. I'm thinking about cutting contact with them, but I keep wondering if I'm overreacting. Is this something I should try to do? Relevant comment? OOP clarifies where his fiancé works. OOP. Here is some clarification. Her work has 2 separate locations, one office, where she works, and one retail, where my family harassed people. My fiancé told them the company name, and they just assumed they only had the retail location, and it wasn't just my sis and her BF, it was also my parents. Queen_Goddess 5297. Info. Is your family really this silly? I am almost positive that jobs can't just tell randoms that someone works there. What if the random is a stalker? This is so weird. Why did they even do this? Is there missing context that explains driving an hour to do an employment check when it quite literally is none of their business nor tea? OOP, they are just this silly, sadly. They have been like this every time I've dated someone. They just took it way, way, way too far this time. Update. My family investigated my fiancé's job and called her a liar. January 14th, 2025, 2 weeks later. I apologize for the delay in providing an update. Just needed to collect my thoughts. If you want to see the previous post, you can check my profile. I don't know how to work Reddit. My fiancé and I are still together and moving forward with our plans to get married. My sister and her BF have gone back home, and they're officially uninvited to the wedding. So now I'm back to searching for a best man. We've also gone no contact with them. I also sent a long text to my parents the day after everything went down, and they never replied. At this point, I don't even know if they're going to show up to the wedding. In the past, we attempted to set boundaries with my mother because she's nosy ASF, and that greatly upset her, which should have been the first red flag. Unfortunately, my fiancée did end up losing her position at work, which has been incredibly frustrating. We haven't told my parents or any other family other than her parents, who have been very supportive through all of this, and I'm not sure if we will for a while, as it would mean talking to them. Thank you to everyone that has been supportive. We're taking things one step at a time and focusing on what's important, each other. Sorry for ending it so cringy. Relevant. Comment? Why did his fiancée lose her job? OOP. They caused a huge scene that made the workers uncomfortable. She was still in the probationary period, and they didn't want people that would bring drama. DD.